Communication is the most important skill you can master to help you get ahead on your leadership journey, your career journey, your personal life journey. It just is, because when you communicate, you're expressing yourself. And that's how the world is understanding you. And the more you are effective at communication, but even more importantly, the more you're effective at communicating what you mean to communicate, then the more powerful you are in your personal interactions and in how you kind of go through your world. And when I say powerful here, I mean effective and impactful. And I'm not talking about power over other people. I'm talking about the ability to achieve what you want to achieve in the world and through your interactions. And there are some specific skills you can learn, vocabulary that will help you, vocabulary that won't help you, nonverbal communications strategies. Those all do matter. But let me tell you a little secret, which is that if you try to learn all the vocabulary and learn how to stand and how to be, you probably will come across like you're trying way too hard. And it won't have the impact that you want because you're focused on the externals. And the secret power of good communicators is not that they've mastered all these things. It's that they've mastered the feelings and the energy that's inside them when they're communicating. Because when you can master what's going on inside you and be very specific about what you're trying to achieve when you're communicating, whether it's through writing, whether it's through speaking, whether it's internal relationship, just dialogue, when you really master what's inside, all the rest of it just kind of happens naturally. And you don't have to worry too much about your vocabulary or your stance. Now, it's not completely true because your vocabulary, your stance can still teach you about what you haven't mastered internally. But the point is that what's going on inside you is what matters. It is the power of your communications. And below on the page, I've given you an example of that. A simple question, are you going to lead this project? And you can say that in so many different ways. Are you going to lead this project? Or are you going to lead this project? Because I kind of really like to. Completely different communication, right? Now, if you focus on the tone of voice and what's going on there, you're missing the point. The point is that what's happening inside with the person who's being challenging, are you going to lead this project, is different than what's happening internally with the person who's trepidate, like, I kind of want to lead it, but I don't know if I'm really qualified, and maybe you're going to do it, and that's going to be a threat to me. All that internal meaning is what matters. So when you understand what that internal thing is going on in you, what's the feeling that you're feeling when you communicate, and how can you master that so you're feeling what you want to communicate before you open your mouth and start to do it, then you're on the path to truly powerful communications. So what I've done below is give you a very simple little exercise to look at that happening in your life a little more critically than perhaps sometimes you do this month, so that on the call at the end of the month, we can kind of deconstruct that. So if you can find an example this month of a communication that doesn't quite go the way you want it to go, and be reflective and note down what were you feeling when that happened, bring that to our call at the end of the month. And we'll have some exercises on the call to help you kind of deconstruct that. Now, there are other kinds of, there's a lot more you can do to work on this, but the first thing is being able to notice that a communication isn't necessarily going the way you want it to go, and to understand what you're feeling when that happens. That's the first step. All the other skills and tools and things that I could give you, or other coaches could give you, or you could work with, are meaningless if you can't notice that and be very specific about understanding the feeling you have when that communication doesn't go the way you want it to go. So that's your exercise for this month, is to really capture that feeling and pay attention to it, write it down, bring it to the call that we have, and we'll talk about ways to deconstruct it and use that information to help you become a more powerful communicator this year. I will see you on the call, I hope, and down below in comments.